So I started off with this comment that learning is a process and not an event. But what do I really mean by that? Well, here's a lecture that one of your STEM students might experience, and they're not going to sit passively and then end the class with defined learnings. They're certainly not going to come away and have remembered precisely what's on that screen right now. Or the majority of them won't. Instead, they need to go through a cognitive process, and it goes beyond the allotted classroom time. So they'll need to actually take it in and engage with the content. They'll actually need to understand it and comprehend what they need to learn, and often these two things happen in class. After class, they'll need to work to retain that information so that they can then recall it and apply it, whether that's in the form of an assessment or in building knowledge that they can then explain and action in a different form. And this process is not necessarily linear. We're going to go back and forth between these stages. As we engage and comprehend something, we might go back and wonder whether we've taken everything in. Do we have all the information that we need? As we remember it and recall it, we're going to spark more connections between other pieces of information that we've learned, and we're going to go back and comprehend the bigger picture. And this learning process isn't linear, but it does require all these stages to really properly understand and apply information and content effectively. And ultimately, the cognitive process that is happening cannot happen solely in class either. And I often use the encoding storage paradigm to show this. So this comes from Chiara's theory, so Dr. Kenneth Chiara, which is seminal research in our understanding of the importance of note-taking in a classroom learning experience. I highly recommend looking at that study that I've put at the bottom of the slide. And really what this is that encoding information is achieved through the physical act of processing and categorizing that information, or effectively deciding what is important and then choosing to note it down, say in a set of notes. And then storing the information comes later when you come back to review it or review a set of notes, and as an extension of the categorization that's done in the moment. So it allows us to retain and make connections between the information that we're storing. It's part of our information processing and eventually our executive functioning in handling that information. So both the encoding and storage, or both taking notes and reviewing them later, are equally as important. It's a process. So this cognitive model is already seen in the learning science that we can